In this video we're just going to create a folder and a couple of web pages and have a look at how things work. At the moment we've got localhost dashboard. We're going to create a new folder to hold all of our test files. So if we go to File Manager, we find our HD Docs folder. This could probably be done using the XAMPP control panel. I tend to run in through the File Manager every time, so whichever way you choose, it's up to you. So here we are, we're in the XAMPP HD Docs folder. What I want to do is create a folder where we're going to create all of our files. I'm going to create two actually. The first one I'm going to do is have a folder called Sandbox, which is where we're going to be doing all of our work just to test things out. And I'm going to have another folder, just not to confuse you later on, for Google Maps when we deal with APIs. So there we go. I have got two new folders, and if I now, instead of typing localhost dashboard, I can actually see what files and folders are inside each of these just by replacing localhost and the name of the folder I want to go to. So let's take a look at Sandbox. There we go, and this is what we see. We see a listing of the files and folders that are inside Sandbox. Just to prove that, what we're going to do is actually create an empty text file or a small text file inside there so that we can see things working. So let's start up Notepad++. I'm going to create a new file new. This is a line of text, and I'm going to save that just as a plain text file. So File, Save, let's go to Computer, Local Disk, XAMPP, HD Docs, and inside Sandbox, and I'm just going to call it My First. There we go, and it's a text file. If we drop this box down, we've got loads of different kind of file extensions we can use. Just for this one, I'm just going to use a text file, and I'm going to click Save. So if we take a look in our Sandbox folder, we should now see My First, a text document. And if we refresh our browser window, we should now see the text document. For you, that's not too bad, but if people come to your website and they tend to see your file listings, then your security is going to be at risk. Okay, they're going to be able to see how you've programmed, what you've programmed, passwords, all sorts of things. We do not want this to happen at all. If you watched the last video, then there is a way, without specifying the file name, of loading a particular file into the web browser window. We're going to have a look at that process now. But first of all, I'm going to type in exactly, whoops, it's My First, the file name that we see there. And there we go. We have whatever was in that file appearing in the browser window. I'm going to change what I do so that we cannot see this listing. And the best way of doing it, and again from the previous video, there is a list of items. So if we start XAMPP, I can just show you that. And my apologies if you've already seen this. There is a list of files in Apache that is automatically looked for in directory index in part of the configuration settings. That if I give the file any one of these names, I do not have to specify it like I did with text, my first.txt on the bar, and it will run automatically. The one I'm going to be using is index.htm or index.html, so that I have a file there with nothing in it at all, but will be loaded, will give me an empty page, and will stop people seeing the directory listings. So Let's go back to my first. I'm going to take that line out and I'm going to save this as a HTML file. There we go, HTML. And I'm going to change the name from my first to index.html and click save. Now I've got an empty file called index.html. I have a listing which says if I've got one of these files, index.html, then load that into the browser. So let's take a look at what happens when I reload Sandbox now and don't specify a file name here. I reload it, there we go. But this time I don't get a directory listing. I've hidden all of my files and folders. Nobody can see any of my code. If I actually type in the name of that file, we get absolutely no difference at all. So I can specify the file or not specify the file, and it works. As text, my first.txt was not on that directory index listing. If I type my first.txt, it still shows up, it still works, but I have to actually specify that file. So that's our first look at creating folders, how to use them in the address bar, the files, and the use of index.html, even being blank, to protect our website from being broken into, made unsecure, or whatever.